Thank you. And it was always a journey around the world of languages. And for fun, it would be nice if you would like to confirm in the chat where you're joining from. I see Colombia is with us. We also have from China and Europe, and be lovely to hear. I hope everything is working well. You can confirm in the chat if you can hear. You know, India, Haiti, France. So nice. And we would like to share something on this topic of realization. And the first is like a couple of quotes. One is a French novelist, Albert Camus. And he said, the realization that life is absurd cannot be an end, but only a beginning. Have we come to this realization yet? And certainly it's unpredictable and doesn't promise logic. And I'm seeing we have from Goa, Spain, and Canada, Philippines, Mumbai, Croatia. Very nice. Other quote is also an author from America. And he mentioned that creative thinking.
Few moments of silence. And during these moments, let us go for the best intellect and best sight. It is extraordinary. We all have that option of the best intellect. And this environment of the best intellect that helps us to see the bigger map, and that also helps the soul to become conscious. During this time, let us be, let there be attention. This minute, let us use it for practice. Some stillness. And the soul is conscious. And for the conscious soul to be like a point is normal. To be immortal is normal. To see himself being independent from the physical world is normal. Whether you call it realization, but he is seeing his truth, and he is seeing the world. As we continue on our journey, we remember this beautiful truth, even for the next hour, that this be the natural state for all of us. As we listen, as we interact, as we speak, the starting position is the best intellect, best sight, and best, highest awareness. The soul becoming conscious, this is the highest thing. God is God because he is soul conscious. Gives us an idea how important this step is. So during this hour, let there be this natural awareness that the invisible soul is observing this physical world and is independent. We may lose it, but our aim is to come back to this. This environment, we got a best chance to experience it and experiment with it. Excellent, thank you. A quick revision of some of the ideas we have spoken before. I am going to use the board. And some ideas, some sketches we have used in the past. We have seen that within our consciousness, awareness, we create identities, identify with different things within the drama. And as we identify with it, our soul consciousness becomes smaller and smaller. We remember this sketch. We also said there was a time when we were like this. When we use the word body consciousness, that term body consciousness is used to represent all this. What is happening here, it is all body consciousness. And body consciousness is a term, but it is not just the body, but things around the body. So our social identities may be much bigger than identity based on the body. For example, ego based upon your job may be bigger, but broadly the term body consciousness is used that represents all of this. Other day, Baba said, it is with great difficulty that this body consciousness is removed. So much effort is required to remove body consciousness. Why? Do you want to tell? Why is it difficult? Is it difficult to remove body consciousness? Anyone want to tell me? And or is it very easy to remove body consciousness?
And why?
Well,
Well, it's been with us for many births, and for a long time, and we may not be aware that it is. We need to know what that means, even body conscious. Attachments, many of them. Something in Hindi.
Easy, another. It is very easy in Hindi.
Yeah. It's been a long time. We were brought up like in this kind of mindset, consciousness. And one thing may be easy with soul consciousness, true. It's difficult to accept that we are nothing or nobody. But when we are aware, we let it go.
Very excellent, very good. Thank you. And one reason, even Baba is admitting that it is difficult to remove body consciousness, smoothly. And the reason is the ego within us, they don't want to die. To remove body consciousness means to remove all these identities, all this ego. And the program within each one of us, the program of the ego, is to get bigger. Ego has not come there to go, then we don't need a God to come here. Ego is there to get bigger, and it is because of ego that soul is not conscious. Ego wants to keep the soul unconscious so that ego can rule the life. And so When you are saying you want to remove ego, no one wants to just die. Even an ant or an insect, it is not going to just die because you want to remove it. It will come to bite you. And so ego is demonic by its origin. Ego will go to any level to survive. Such is the dynamics. Starting position is this. You want to come in this soul consciousness, but ego has its full program. That's why, we hear this in other religions, and they think it is they are going to attain enlightenment or highest spiritual attainment in a casual way. Do some kind of singing and dancing in the temple, and you attain enlightenment. Baba says it won't happen by that method. One has to first understand the dynamics, because ego is ruling. Ego has no problem. You're doing bhajan, kirtan, singing, dancing. Ego has no problem. So such is the situation. Starting position is this. And our aim is to bring about this transformation. One of the realization, it is important to even know, the roots of, if you want to remove the enemy, you need to know the enemy. Without knowing the enemy and his preparation and what is he capable of doing, you can't win the war. So here we understand at least what this broad word body consciousness is. Another sketch we will get chance to revisit some of these things. Another sketch we like very much, and we want to keep it with us, is just a reminder that we are these invisible players, invisible travelers, and we have a home. Our world is eternal, safe, and that we are invisible travelers passing through this. Physical world is essentially an experience. It is just like, I may go into a room where there is wind or cold. It is an experience. Every experience begins and ends. And then so soul is the experiencer, and he passes through this physical experience. This is all. You are going into one room and there may be green light. You experience that green light, you come out. Every experience has a beginning and an end. Experiencer is eternal. So also here, you are coming in this box, experience starts. You leave the box, experience ends. That was an extra experience. During that journey, we have gone so haywire. We create attachments and attachments in that temporary world of experience and completely forgotten ourselves. So it is like a extreme confusion. And when we say ego is embodiment of this full ignorance. It doesn't want to know anything beyond that little box. Such is that what we mean by the ego, embodiment. Ego can survive in the environment of darkness. So that dotted green line is important for us. Dotted green line represents, you cross that line, you are into ignorance. So when the environment of ignorance is there, that absolutely favors the ego. You need that environment. Just like, in your country, in your town, if there is one weather, hot weather, some kinds of plants come, cactus comes, weeds come. Different weather comes, spring comes, and daffodils come out, different flowers come out. One weather favors one kind of plant, another weather favors another plant. You create environment of ignorance, then ego flourishes, body consciousness flourishes. You create the environment of knowledge, not just points of knowledge, but environment of knowledge. And that's why when we use the word paras, paras is the best intellect. You are seeing the big map, clearly, 100% clear. When we use the word paras, you give yourselves permission to see in 100% clarity. And in that 100% clarity, it favors the soul. It appears so absurd to create ego. Like right now, we said, it is just an experience. You go into a green room, and the experience, you come out. You can't, you are going to come out. It is just an experience there. You don't create attachments in it. It appears absurd when you can see this bigger map to create ego and to believe you are something from that box. It appears absurd. If you feel like that, it is a whole ego department is absurd, even for 2 seconds, that's a success. Something inside changes. The ego becomes weaker. And that is a success. Each time you are making it smaller, the soul consciousness grows. In the Murli that we heard recently, Murli of 18th January transmission that you heard, there was an expression, Man Jit and Jagat Jit. You win over the mind. Translation was conqueror of mind. Be the master of mind. So you win over the mind and you win the world. So, do you like this? Is it easy to win over the mind? Who find it easy to win over the mind? Man jite. Jagat jite. You want to tell who finds it easy to win over the mind? Or you got a full plan? Who got a plan to gain victory over the mind?
We have one yes from the Hindi group. Perhaps others are reflecting on it. Oh, we have another yes. I think grasping the model is quite a thing in itself. We have more agreeing, but saying it takes effort. And there's a hand raised and would like to. Not easy, but possible. And one needs a plan. And when one has strategies and in advance, we know the game, it is possible. Another comment, it's difficult to win over the mind because mind is not all bad. It is a tool as well.
Sure, sure. Good, very good. Now, the one who is to become the master of the mind, he is himself not conscious. That is our starting position. When ego is conscious, the soul is not conscious. He is a zombie. He's there, but he's zombie. And ego is the master. All the 10 heads of Ravan is the master of the mind. These 10 heads are competing amongst themselves. So when you tell him, be the master of the mind, one ego says, yes, I want to be the master of the mind. Yes, definitely. I will remove these other who are using the mind. So that is what the starting position is. The one who is to become conscious is not there to listen even. And when Baba is telling, be the master of the mind, Baba is telling the soul. Baba doesn't want one ego to become the master. So we need to play a different game here. First we have to make the soul conscious, and then the game can change. And how do we know when it is soul that is conscious? So let us create a few minutes of experience. And during this, that the aim would be to bring about this shift. So during these minutes, I'm talking here something like maybe 5 minutes longer, we choose a posture that is comfortable. During this time, we don't have to move, maybe not even to take notes. We will get the recordings also later. We keep the body comfortable. Consciously relax the body. We use our best intellect. We use the paras. With the paras, we can see the physical world. We can see the story for what it is. We can see the world beyond the story. We're just seeing that everything that is happening around us right now, and what happened today, it all happened in the story. And what happened in the past happened in the story. We are seeing the reality beyond the story. With the eye of the mind, we are seeing the bigger world. This environment helps the invisible player to become conscious. The invisible player knows of his immortality. The invisible player knows of his complete independence from the story. The invisible player is the invisible incarnate. He may visit the story, but as an incarnate. And he has no interest in the story. He has no interest in anything connected with the story. He's not going to be impressed with anything. He doesn't want to know the details and details, as if it is happening there. Invisible incarnate is very interested and very fond of his world, his alokik world. Very interested in his alokik family of souls. That is his family. It is only one family. Very interested in his home, alokik home. There is just one home. Very interested in his true father. For him, this dimension is normal and natural. As was said, for him, this immortality is natural. This true family is normal. True father. He knows this eternal bond with the father, knows his worthiness to belong to the father, to be loved by the father. Invisible incarnate. He knows all are lucky. They all are from this family of God. He knows he himself is immensely lucky. We are talking here, life with the God, world of immortality, world of truth. We are not dealing with the story or creating attachments or ego in a story. This is a world of truth. This is the world of perfection. Everyone in this world, they are souls. They are God-like souls. They are egoless and viceless. This is the natural position. It's the eternal and original state of everyone. When anyone is conscious to this, that truth, any soul is conscious to this truth, he finds he doesn't need anything from anywhere. He is immortal without needing anything. And he is beyond harm. Nothing can harm him. These two things rule the lives of everyone in the Iron Age. Constant desire of something, and they need to defend themselves. Potential victims. These invisible souls, they are desireless, sorrowless. They are beyond harm and harmless. Nothing can ever harm them, ever. All of this allows them to be completely innocent, childlike. They can afford to be forever childlike, and they are forever godlike. That's why this dimension we are talking about is auspicious. We are literally dealing with a world which is immensely clean, childlike, godlike beings forever. That's why there is a feeling of perfection and beauty all around. This world is divine. We don't just use these words, divine, angel, in a superficial way. If there is no vibration of Ravan, it is divine. Ravan's vibration creates desires, disappointments. Whereas on this side, it is auspicious, absolutely clean. That's why a region of love and happiness, and everyone is experiencing that. Happiness, love comes with its friends. We realize the truth is immensely beautiful. Truth for everyone is good. All are from this great family. All are from the family of God, worthy to be loved by God. We are just seeing this scene, timeless scene, the real world. This is not a meditation. We are just seeing the reality as it exists. And every second we are seeing this dimension, we make it easy for others to wake up. As if it is like shining light on this dimension. It is like a lighthouse effect. That reality exists, but ordinarily attention of everyone is elsewhere. You are shining light on this that already exists for everyone. That's why it becomes the highest karma. Baba uses the word punya. Punya is opposite of sin. It becomes the highest karma. It is of upliftment. It is not just going in the story and changing the story a little bit, some vaccination program, but here you are reviving the angelic souls by you just seeing this, seeing their greatness, seeing their immortality, see that they exist, the souls exist, seeing their life with God. So every second you are in this dimension, it becomes a second of blessings. It becomes a life of blessings and bliss. It starts so simple. You just take one right turn, use the best intellect, and it takes you right up to the top. We are talking here, life with the God and life of punya and blessings and world of immortality and highest karma. It takes you. Excellent. So it will be nice to hear some thoughts from you, if you want to, and then we'll come to the next subject.
Thank you for this discussion and this helpful aspect that the experience ends, but it's not the end of the experiencer. How we get so caught and entangled with the experience that we have this idea of the self being somehow having an end to it. Now we have a couple of questions. Can the ego be fostered by other souls, making it difficult to detach and develop soul consciousness? From the Portuguese group.
Of course, other people can very likely to promote ego with best intention. They might think they love you so much that they want to praise your head, and all the time they want to give you a bigger head. It may appear that it is all love, but we are in this body conscious world, so we all end up feeding each other's ego with good intention, but confusion. But in such a world, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We have to protect ourselves. Just like if you are going in a crowd, you take a mask, put on a mask. So even your president in your countries will be telling you, use a mask, use a mask. So, you don't say others should be using, you use the mask, you protect yourself. Same here, we have to take responsibility. Even if president doesn't tell you, we should take the responsibility.
It's a nice array of questions. I can ask another one. Can you explain a bit about the soul? Is the soul the mind?
The nice word to describe soul, soul is the experiencer. And mind is the platform where the experience takes place. So at this stage, that is good enough. Experiencer, we use the word soul is a traveler. He experiences of this entire physical world, so it becomes a traveler. And many other functions follow the experience based on experience or emotions and thoughts, and all these things follow. Mind is used by the soul. It is a faculty of the soul, but it is just a platform where the experience happens and thoughts are created. But there is a separate, we had a session on this in more details. You will get access to it.
So would you like more questions at this stage?
Yeah.
What would be the checking point to identify the shrinking ego? How do I know the ego is shrinking? In other words?
Yeah. If some situation used to create in you different, any kind of disturbance, sorrow, anger. The ego is the one that takes sorrow. It is not that ego is all the time in sorrow, but ego is quick at taking offense, quick at giving offense. So if you find in a situation what was creating offense in you is not creating offense in you today, what was creating anger in the past is not creating anger now, what was creating sorrow, not creating sorrow now, then that particular ego is becoming smaller. Doesn't mean you have not created other ego. There are many, ego has got many heads. You may even create an ego that I am becoming free from ego, that kind of thing. But it is a good sign. You are becoming free, that is good.
Okay, that's helpful. Now this question comes up in different forms almost every session, about detachment and it being a hard thing to grasp. So the question comes here: in order to detach ourselves and stop experiencing this world, do we become zombies? So it has been dealt with before, but if there's something you want to share now on this.
Yeah, sure. What we are addressing, word detachment, the word used is detachment. But what we really want to be free is free from trap. If someone is trapped in a web, then to come out of that web is good for him. It is not being zombie, but it makes him free. He can do many things. Getting trapped makes him inefficient. At the moment, the soul is trapped in this web. This physical world is an extraordinary gift for us, but it has also become a web at the moment. It's a great gift, but it is sticky. And if you are not careful, it can become a web. So how are we trapped in this web? If anything is able to give you sorrow, it means you are trapped in it. We have discussed this in more detail, and then some of the early, sessions worth revising. Those who asked a question, but we quickly revising this. Each time, say I'm a guest, just going past some place, and it is possible some children use the word my to it. You start to believe something belongs to you. Use the word my, and then you are going. In 5 minutes you are going. Then you are suffering. That I lost something that is mine. And you knew all along that you are there just for 5 minutes. So what has happened? You have created a psychological trap. In ignorance, you started to believe that something that doesn't belong to you. You are using the word my, and now it is in a position to give you sorrow. You are trapped psychologically. So to be free from that, the ignorance, and to be free from that attitude, mind, then you are sensible and you are dealing with it for 5 minutes. You are happy to go there, happy to live. And that is freedom. And that is a healthy. So to understand more the detachment, it makes you healthy and makes you sensible. The word used is detachment, but interpret that word as freedom. We are trying to become free in our state of body consciousness. There is that confusion. We don't see things are temporary. Whether it is 5 minutes or 50 years, it is temporary. And more we create bondages, we suffer unnecessarily. But it prevents us from being useful to ourselves. And then we are not useful to others either.
I appreciate this simple reminder and explanation of the psychological trap. This comment, in this world, every coin has two faces. How can we say that something, experience, desire, wish, action, is definitely below or above the line? Because it may feel good now, but it can lead to suffering later, and vice versa.
Yeah, sure. What we are really saying here is this box that we have shown here. That is the cause of 100% of sorrows in the world. 100%, in each and every one. Cause of sorrow is this box. 100% of our desperations and desires are connected with this box. 100% of ego are connected with the box. 100% of vices are connected with the box. If we have a wrong attitude towards it, you get all of this. If you create bondage, then you get all of this. And we said earlier, ego is like the embodiment of ignorance, embodiment of bondage. So if any of you created ego, in the context of this box, then it is a cause of all this, and it lowers the quality of our life. Just to be free from it, even to be free from even one bondage, just makes you freer, and it helps you experience your wonder. What we experience during those 5 minutes of attention, you're experiencing a world of disbelief, world of God, and a world with God, world of immortality. This is our truth. This bondage prevents us from experiencing all this. So we have this option to become free, and more we become free, we experience whatever language is used, but to understand, we want to become free. We can take one more question and then we move on.
Okay, which question? So one comment, I noticed that Maya fights back fiercely with every elevated step in soul consciousness. How long does that last?
Good. No, Maya, of course, Maya will create problem, but Maya is powerful in ignorance. Our job is to create light, create so much light that Maya dissolves, just like a shadow. You create light, shadow disappears. And our job is this. We need to create light and create light for others, so that there is no shadow and you are not fighting with Maya all the time. But if you are fighting with Maya in darkness, then Maya will be forever. But we are at war with Maya, but move in the shift the ground, the playground, move it into light. That's why this emphasis on paras and all. Then you are the winner. want to add a few things now, just coming to the subject of realization. I'm going to read a short murli, few words that are spoken by Baba on this subject, realization. You want to hear the words directly?
Yes, please.
I'm translating from Hindi. So this is a murli from 1987. So Baba is asking here, earlier, in your task of transformation, world transformation, what is required? And Baba is saying self-transformation. And why is there lack in self-transformation? And the main reason for this is lack of one power, one special power. And that special power is power of realization. The basis of any easy transformation is the power of realization. Until you are not having realization, until you are not experienced, until then, the foundation of your Brahmin life is not strong. Bring your Brahmin life from the beginning in front of you. First transformation and first realization. I am a soul. And this is my father. This transformation happened on what basis? Only when you realized, yes, I am a soul, and this is my father. So this realization led to experience. Then there was transformation. Until there was realization, you continued in the spiritual life in an ordinary way and at ordinary speed. The moment there was the realization, it made you experienced, and then your effort became intense. So whichever are your aspects of transformation, whether they are in connection with the creator or creation, until the time you have realization that here this is the relationship, this is yoga, this is that elevated soul. When that realization happens, then your movement will be based on zeal and enthusiasm and based on experience. So I will tell the date on which Baba is speaking this, 2nd of November, 87. The realization. Many people may be using the words. They are using the word soul, and in the world, half the population in this country, in the United Kingdom, they believe there is a soul. So it is not a new knowledge. And we said earlier, God is God because he knows he's the soul. So what is the difference? We can use the word in a very superficial way, and we can use the same word, understand the wonder of it and what it means, and experience, and that is all realization. It starts the process, so let me give you one example. Say in your town, one person comes and you are told there is a person in your town, is made of light. There is no flesh, bones. He is all just light. Will you be interested to see him? He has come in that city center, in the shopping area. So you may be interested to see this person of light. Now others, they are getting more information that this person is from another world. Not just Mars, but he's beyond Mars. If he's from Mars, maybe Elon Musk, he will also come running to see this, person from Mars. But he is from a galaxy beyond Mars, beyond the galaxies. Very interesting. Many more will come to see this person. And then he says he's immortal. The suicide bombers and guns and bombs and Putin's army, nothing can harm him. He is immortal. And many doctors will come to see this, this person, he says he is immortal and nothing can harm him. He says he's from God's world. He knows God. He's from the God's family. He belongs to God, loved by God, and he will be going back to God. Now even Pope will come to your town to meet this person who knows God and who is God's, from the family of God. Agree? It's a huge crowd. Your town will become famous everywhere. Do you know someone like this? Who is of light and who is from a different world altogether and immortal and from God's family? Do you know anyone? Already? Is there anyone in your town?
In Colchester, they're saying we are. Maybe all of us, even in everywhere.
That's absolutely true. That is what each one of us is. Yeah. Now, many people, will go so travel to meet someone like this, because they see it is an amazing thing. But if you are like this, and why are people in this world not having that enthusiasm and amazed by this and seeing it as a wonder? Why it is not happening? Because realization has not happened. They may be even reading the Murli and they may be hearing it, taking notes, but it is not realized. it is not connected. Something is not connected. They don't see what it means. The realize is that step where suddenly penny drops. You are seeing something, the seriousness of it, importance of it. Where Baba said, "This is my father." You realize this. You have found this God you've been searching for. But until then, it is not. That has not happened. It becomes ordinary. So here we are dealing with this angelic being from God's world, who is immortal, and if people were to know, they will come running to say, but you yourselves are seeing it in an ordinary way. You are as if nothing. Someone may win a lottery and he has not realized it. He's still complaining about the electricity bill and complaining about the things are going up and someone is charging him £2 more. He has won a lottery. But if it is not realized, as if he has not won it, and you are not connected to it. So this is like the game for us, and every aspect we may have to see with paras. If ego is seeing it, ego cannot realize it. If our starting position, spiritual effort, it can happen ego-based effort. Ego has got different aim, and ego will not realize the wonder of it, wonder of the spiritual matters. So little shift that is required just to see, even for short time. We are bound to lose it, because ego will come back after some time. But during this effort, we have to as a bypass ego and step beyond the story and see the wonder and then come back again. Yeah, you want to add anything? Say anything?
Feels like an absurd lottery. So we realize it's this intoxication from the heart, and then this ego comes and it's back to the, why did they charge me twice at Tesco's or something? Comment, ego cannot experience supersensuous bliss. A question that did come just now, if it's clear question, is rationalizing a defense mechanism of the soul?
Of course, to anything in a sensible way. We want to understand things in a rational way, but anything that sort of goes to such a level that it blocks the purpose. Why are we rationalizing? We want to be rational, but why? If it is if it goes into the Maya's department, then it just becomes a block to your higher goal. But rationalizing is good.
Checking the intention behind.
Means towards an end, not to forget the end.
Is it possible to always be soul conscious?
And ultimately, we want to make it natural. A body consciousness is like a wrong posture. That is not a natural state. It is an abnormal state. Soul consciousness is the right posture. Just that we want to remove ego, and then soul consciousness will be natural. Golden age, silver age, it is natural state without any effort.
One comment in the chat that I found helpful as a method, if one can detect happiness or sadness because of the drama, to be sensitive to that and then replace it with the angel, like waking up the soul, and that will dissolve the ego's happiness, sadness, because that is the trap, especially the happiness. We don't necessarily observe that, but it requires that checking. So I think there is a question about the trap. Can you say that time is a trap?
Time is nature of this world. In the golden age also there is time, and iron age also there is time. Time is not the trap. It is our attitude. We find ourselves in a trap. Like as we said, the moment we start, creating desires, then we get trapped. There is a web, but we are the ones who go into that web, and we are clinging to the web. Web is not holding us, but we are holding the web. So we have the option to let go of the web. And then the same thing you enjoy. Even the spider's web is very beautiful if you are not in it. Same here. This whole world of time and space is beautiful if I am not in it, if I am not trapped in it.
This consciousness of golden or silver age, can we bring that within ourselves now, even though it is the iron age?
Of course, we are now in the confluence age, and confluence age is the age of transformation.
Someone's commented that the words of Mama, she said that during service she's involved in the story, but the rest of the time consciousness is beyond, and so this is a way to overcome the ego. If there aren't any other connected comments, except can someone be meditating and still not attain realization?
Yes, and this is a nice, we start the process. Meditation is nice, and realization is an ongoing process. We'll continue to understand the depths of it, but understand that there is this, we need to stop and not deal with things in a superficial level. Understand there is another level we can go. Understand how we are dealing with something that is miraculous thing. One quantum physicist, he says, this is a big miracle is right in front of our nose, and that is the way things are. Big miracle is right in front of the nose, but even the nose itself is a miracle, and the soul is a miracle. Understand that we are dealing with the extraordinary thing, and then you will understand the richness and the wonder of it. And when we are dealing with spiritual knowledge, there is a huge thing there. When you are seeing it with that, with those eyes, just life becomes much richer. If it is time to take a break and go to the rooms, that is also fine, and we will be meeting after that, after the break.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good time. So the question which we could create now.
Do we have a poll? Is it a time for poll?
Well remembered, yes. We have a poll question or two here, so hopefully on your screen there should be poll, and co-host can not press end poll. Translators may need to translate the questions. Meanwhile, Prashant can think of a reflective question for rooms. And if it's not possible to reply in the poll, then feel free to just type it in the chat. You can send private message or message to all. Someone has ended poll. That's nice. So hopefully you will see now the results on the screen. And good to know the results. We also have another question, and hopefully this will come up on your screen now. Just a simple, co-host, you don't need to click end, that's fine. We're getting better now at this poll. A few seconds. Okay. Thank you. So just to share the results on the screen. Someone is asking which morning class, so it's usually connected to our local center geographically, but it can be online. So it's the morning early, usually in the morning. Maybe some have to listen later in the day. So Prashant, what would you like to suggest as a reflective question?
What are the realizations that you already had, and what are the realizations you would wish to have?
Understand better. Yeah. Okay, that's great. And so that's been put in the chat, and you'll be invited to join a room. And also, if you need assistance, you can type in the chat or press help, and we'll see you shortly. Thank you. Everyone's just on their way back from the virtual room to another virtual room. Welcome back to this virtual room from the other virtual space. I don't know if you landed well. And let's create some time for just our own inner world, and then we're going to hear some reflections from South Africa. Thank you. Thank you for these timeless moments. There are quite a lot of questions and thoughts. It's a topic which is like opening doors, I think, in different ways for all of us in our own journey. So it's been quite fascinating. And we're going to join Belinda today, who is it's afternoon for her, and she's joining from South Africa. So warm welcome. Lovely to hear your thoughts on this subject.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Such an interesting conversation in the groups, in the rooms, so really appreciating that. But I was just thinking about how important this topic of realization is, because the ego can also, check the thoughts, the words, and the actions. And I think that many people in the world, they do try to observe themselves and try to perhaps interact in a respectful way. But we know that the trap, we've been talking about traps today. The trap is that the ego's reason for observing the self and perhaps checking the self is there is always some kind of agenda that's mixed in there, because the ego is looking for either acceptance or approval, to be appreciated, all these things. And so, when the ego makes a mistake and is perhaps hurtful or selfish in its actions, it will try to set that right, but for its own, to feed itself, so that, as mentioned, it is not rejected. The ego doesn't like to be rejected. So when there is this realization at the level of the soul, it puts our checking into a completely different category or dimension even. And the soul starts to check the ego itself. It's like suddenly there is someone observing this body conscious self, this body conscious behavior. And only realization can then put us into that seat where we can now observe the ego with its different and sometimes very subtle efforts to be good, to be respected, etc. So the thought came of how important it is to have the realization that brings us to that position where the ego can be seen. And it seems to me that for a while, yes, you see the big egos, but it's almost as if once you have identified clearly the difference between the ego being in charge and the soul being in charge, once that's when you've had that realization, then it is it becomes almost natural to check and change, as sometimes we hear it in the Murli. And even if we're not checking and changing in that instant, but we are reflecting back on our day or on some event and seeing clearly where the ego took over. And that's when we are truly in the game, because now we can see what's going on. We can see, excuse me, the tactics of the opponent. And that contrast between ignorance and clarity just increases. So that, sometimes in a second you can just see how the ego took an opportunity and just took over the situation. So very important for us to, to create the realizations, or to through our practice, to increase the realizations, so that our effort becomes easier and easier. And as we often say, it's a game, and it really can be fun. And we can laugh at Maya even when she's fighting back, because there's the trump card, and the trump card guarantees success. And that is just staying above the line, keeping Paris intellect in the driving seat, and then to be in the game and accept that ego will constantly come into the scenario, and it's really for the soul to just see it and come out. in that second. Thanks very much.
Appreciating the main realization of the game. But before you go, we have a follow-up question for you, Belinda, if it's possible. When the ego, or if the ego starts trying to put a mistake right, what is the best approach? Is it to stop trying to fix the past mistake? I think you've kind of answered that question in a sense, but if you want to add anything.
Yeah, nice question. Thank you. Well, we definitely don't want to continue with ego in the driving seat. So, yeah, just to recognize it. And sometimes the best thing is just let it go. It's ego driven. And when the soul comes into its truth, then the right solution can be found. As we often say, there are no solutions in the world of the ego. So rather, come into truth, and then the solution will be found. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a question here I can answer myself, I think. Is regret ego-driven? I think we can safely say yes, but Prashant might want to elaborate a little. We have other types of questions, some around attachment, but we can answer that maybe privately. There are just one trying to deal with the difference between love and attachment. Yeah, I think there is another question. What's the difference between silencing the mind and making the mind blank? So there's different realizations coming up, different questions, but handing back to you, Prashant, see what you would like to add.
Thank you. Let us create one more minute of silence, but not blank. Our aim is to use mind. Mind is such a wonderful thing. It is a great faculty. And we got this wonder in front of us. That is not a time to make it blank. Starts with the self. We want to see this wonder of the self. We are talking about the being of light, and that is immortal, and that is divine, naturally being of happiness and love. Such is the nature of this self. And beyond harm, nothing can harm him. And this self is from the family of God. And God is the close friend. God loves him in an immense way. At this level, everything is auspicious. There is no limits. Whether your love for others, other souls, brothers, that is an immensely lovely family. And that is eternal. No one disappears, no one changes mind, no one dies. It is like we are seeing that silent celebration with the family and the Father. And this is a timeless reality. Realizing it, but seeing the wonder of this family of souls and the Father. In Baba's words, small little family. It's a small little world of the Father and the family. This is a happy world and a lovely world. But small little world. But in this small little world is the entire life. All souls belong to this small little world. And it appears small because all belong to you. Doesn't appear too much. And when they do come into the physical world, we are seeing the wonder of this physical world right now here. If this world is there as a drama, and if we are realizing this is a drama, see the richness of the drama. On this drama stage, there are trees and rivers and clouds and the mountain. This is all for the performance. And there are a variety of characters and different appearances. This is all stunt for the drama. And if we are realizing it, we'll see the wonder of each act and each moment and each scene. It's a gift. Sometimes there may be a scene of a fog, and another time scene of sun and some war scene. There's a variety. No one in the family ever dies. No one dies in the story. They're all stunts. Whole thing gets repeated again. But we are seeing this three-dimensional wonder. What a grand performance and richness. We are not seeing it as ordinary. If there is no realization, then you don't notice it even. For ego, there is no realization. But the soul who has come here as an incarnate, he understands the wonder that exists here. But he knows also it is a drama and it is temporary. He doesn't create bondages there. Just as we may watch some film, nice film, and we come out. The life of one who has a realization is a rich life. It is like the opposite of a zombie. The one who is zombie, he doesn't notice. There's a big thing, his life with God and with angelic souls and world of immortality, world of bliss. And he doesn't notice any of these things. There's a great miracle performance going on, and he doesn't realize what is happening. In Baba's words, if that step has happened, if someone has woken up out of the zombie stage, there will be goose pimples all the time, because the reality is such. Our idea of yoga, meditation is just waking up to this. The word wonder is nice. Word amazement is nice. And the universe is positive because everything is just right. In the beginning and everything is right. Golden age and iron age. Just that we don't want to have our consciousness wrong. That option we have. Otherwise, universe is positive. We just need to see it the right way. We don't approach it upside down. Excellent. So happy to hear some comments and questions.
Question here. I think getting occupied and with our responsibilities is important in the world. How do we manage this physical world on a daily basis when there is nothing to experience there using the senses? Is the question.
Sure, yes. You know what is happening? If we can deal with this life and deal with responsibilities in a state of body consciousness, and body consciousness, as we discussed, is a state of confusion. It is extreme confusion. And in that state, we are doing something there. If we are in a state of full clarity, we will only do the job better. That's all that is happening. We are coming in clarity from confusion.
Thank you. And if there are any follow-up reflections, happy to hear. There was a question earlier. It's not immediately connected to what was shared, but what's the connection between ego and like phobias that we can find that paralyze us, like can be fear of, well, many things like kinds of animals, etc.
Yeah. Yes, that is good to connect ego, because ego is forever a victim. That drama, various things in the drama can harm him. The ego is based on the things of the drama. That's why he's forever under some kind of a panic, subconscious or conscious. There is a panic in the ego. And sometimes it is directed towards some extreme things like cockroach or spider, and then we may call it phobias. But one has to be in that state of confusion to have this, phobias or fears or panic. If one is beyond the line, he's not worried about death. Bottom line is he's so worried about me, what will happen to me. That's why there are phobias and fears. Once the soul is conscious, he knows he's immortal and nothing can harm him, even the slightest. Nothing in the three worlds can ever harm him, even the slightest. We have the option to bring this realization. And that once you come in that space, even for 1 minute, you understand his soul. Nothing in the three worlds can harm him, even the slightest. There are black holes in this universe and black tigers and all this is going on. Nothing can harm him. Body will come and go. These are all things of the drama. Let him experience this. And that is the way to dissolve these ego-based fears and phobias.
Thank you. So that's a very full answer. So just a rephrasing of the earlier question, how to manage this experience of the non-physical world, because we can't use our physical senses in that experience. So is it that we are using subtle senses?
Yeah, it is just like, say, you go to some, theme park and you have to use special glasses to experience that, or you use some special apparatus to experience, lights and sound or some radiations there, heat, and you come out, you don't need that apparatus outside. This body is made for this world, this box. This body is not going to give us experiences from beyond. But we have the intellect and we have the sense. We have to use that, and that is enough. But not to be, attached to our sense information. It is like I went into that theme park and used that apparatus, but then I world outside. I don't say I should see it through that apparatus. Otherwise, I don't believe that exists. I need to be prepared that there is a reality beyond this physical limitations.
Okay, that's interesting. I would like to hear if that helps in North London or West London. Now we've come to time, but the feeling is there's like a momentum. But maybe just one more question, and then we will be finishing, if that's okay, Prashant, or you have any. But how does, this is from Portuguese group, how does churning knowledge contribute to settling karmic accounts?
Churning knowledge will not, but churning knowledge will create a momentum. It will lead to a soul awareness. The churning knowledge is to get the intellect. The intellect needs a bit sharpening. But what will settle the karmic accounts is the more accurate practice, deeper experiences of soul consciousness, and not superficial. It has to be deep, so much so that it actually removes your ego, and that is when we settle the accounts. Old sanskaras need to go, then it means that burden is gone.
For that clarification, we need to understand the mechanism as if. So, Prashant, do you have anything final to share? Also, it's always nice to kind of as if focus on one aspect or some kind of homework before we meet tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. The homework, I might like to underline this word, amazement and wonder. Just make a list of the things. What are the things that you find, if you were in full awareness, fully awake, what are the things you feel with amazement, and you see with amazement, and you see their wonder for you? Make a list of things, not in a mechanical way, get a feel of it. Do you see this wonder? Whatever, spiritual and physical. See them from the soul awareness, and acknowledge this will be very special moments, and then revisit that list over the next few days also. As was mentioned earlier, each time you are coming in these experiences of amazement, wonder, love, happiness, that is like fire. This fire is necessary to remove the old sanskaras. The wrong sanskaras that we got, they will not go in a superficial way. Just a realization or churning, that is not enough. The fire is required to melt away the impurities. And this is a good energy of wonder. So enjoy the next 24 hours.
Thank you.
Wonder and miracle and magic.
And this acknowledgement, because that's Maya's trick. She likes to use power to merge. So we have these realizations. We just need to bring them out, shine them up, and extract this intoxication, wonder, magic, and amazement. So look forward to this opportunity to meet you again, according to the drama and technology. And we will be finishing with a short drill for those who would like to stay. This is Bapdada speaking from Madhaban, words spoken in meditation. Thank you.